The Prophet, living with love, balance, and freedom. Work is love made visible. And if you cannot work with love but only with distaste, it is better that you should leave your work and sit at the gate of the temple and take alms of those who work with joy. Kahlil Gibran, the Prophet. Introduction. Why you're restless. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet ache when the room finally falls silent. The phone screen is dark. Your playlists are off. Nobody's texting back. And suddenly the question hits you. Is this all there is? You check your career path. You scroll your relationships. You try to make sense of the noise. But deep down, you wonder if you're actually living, or just performing life like a role you didn't choose. You're not alone. Across generations, people have wrestled with this same restlessness. And a century ago, a Lebanese poet named Kahlil Gibran wrote a little book called The Prophet, a book that's never gone out of print, that people still gift at weddings, funerals, and graduations. Why? Because it speaks directly to the human heart when you're lost. And today, I want to walk you through it. Not as literature, not as history, but as a mirror, a guide, something you can carry into your own battles with purpose, freedom, and meaning. Chapter 1. Love, the fire that burns and heals. When Gibran's prophet is asked about love, he doesn't give an easy answer. He doesn't say, love is happiness, or love is romance. He says, love crowns you, even as it crucifies you. That's the truth you already know. Love isn't just butterflies and soft music. It's also the risk of heartbreak, the tension of vulnerability, the work of staying. Think about your relationships. Maybe that friendship you cling to even though it drains you, or the partner you want to hold tight because you're terrified of losing them. Gibran says, love doesn't want to be controlled. You cannot direct its course, for love, if it finds you worthy, directs your course. What does that mean for you? It means real love will stretch you. It will demand honesty. It will break your illusions. If you let it, love becomes your greatest teacher. So instead of asking, how do I keep this forever? Ask, what is love teaching me here? Maybe it's teaching you patience. Maybe it's teaching you to let go. But remember, love isn't comfort. Love is transformation. Chapter 2. Marriage, friendship, and space to breathe. Let's stay with relationships, because Gibran has words that cut deep for anyone stuck in codependence. He says, let there be spaces in your togetherness, and let the winds of the heavens dance between you. You know what that means. You've seen couples who suffocate each other, who can't breathe without checking the other's phone, who lose their identity in the we. But love isn't possession. Love is two strong trees standing side by side, not one tree wrapping itself around the other until neither can grow. The same applies to friendships. Real friends don't need to chain you down with guilt or constant proof. They let you be, and when you return, the bond is still strong. So ask yourself, are your relationships giving you space to grow? Or are they shrinking you? Because love without freedom isn't love. It's fear disguised as closeness. Chapter 3. Work, making love visible. Now let's talk about work. Because right now, many of us are grinding ourselves to exhaustion, chasing promotions, fighting algorithms, hustling, until burnout becomes the badge of honor. But Gibran flips the script. Work is love made visible. That doesn't mean every job will be your dream job. It doesn't mean you'll always wake up excited. It means the energy you bring to your work shapes the meaning it gives back to you. If you can't pour love into it, if you resent every moment of it, you're not just draining your energy, you're draining your spirit. So ask yourself, how can you bring love into what you do? Maybe it's showing care in the small details. Maybe it's thinking of who benefits from your effort. Maybe it's finding joy in the craft itself. And if you truly can't, maybe it's time to ask why you're still there. Because work that kills your soul isn't worth the paycheck. Chapter 4. Joy and sorrow, the two sides of the same cup. You want joy. You chase happiness. But here's the paradox Gibran lays out. Your joy is your sorrow unmasked. Think about it. The depth of your happiness is tied to the depth of your pain. When you lose someone, the grief feels unbearable only because the love was so deep. When you finally taste success, it feels so sweet only because you've known failure. Joy and sorrow aren't enemies. They are partners. And in the modern world, we try so hard to numb sorrow. We scroll past it. We medicate it. We bury it in distractions. But when you do that, you also shrink your capacity for joy. So maybe the challenge is this. Stop running from sorrow. Let it carve you out. Because the deeper the carving, the more joy you can hold. Your sadness today is creating room for your joy tomorrow. Chapter 5. Freedom more than breaking chains. Now let's talk about freedom. Everyone wants it. But what do we actually mean? We say we want freedom from bosses, freedom from parents, freedom from rules. But Gibran warns, I have seen the freest among you wear their freedom as a yoke and a handcuff. You've felt it. You got the freedom to scroll endlessly, and now you're chained to your screen. You got the freedom to drink, hook up, escape, and now you're stuck in patterns that don't actually free you. True freedom isn't about doing whatever you want. It's about not being controlled by what you think you want. Freedom is inner mastery, the ability to rise above your cravings, your fears, your compulsions. So, ask yourself, are you free or just trapped by a different kind of cage? Chapter 6. Giving, the secret to abundance. Another theme in the prophet is generosity. Not just giving money, not just giving when it feels safe, but giving of yourself. You give but little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give. Think of the times someone gave you their time, their attention, their patience. That gift outlived any object. And in today's culture of side hustles and scarcity mindset, we hoard, we hold tight, we measure our worth in numbers on a bank app. But Gibran's reminder is radical. The more you give, the richer you become. Because generosity is abundance in motion. What are you giving to the people around you? Not just things, but your care, your wisdom, your energy. The act of giving expands you. It makes you more alive. Chapter 7. Self-knowledge, the wisdom within. Here's a line that could change your life. No man can reveal to you aught but that which already lies half asleep in the dawning of your knowledge. In other words, nobody can give you the answers you're searching for. Not me, not your favorite influencer, not even Gibran. The answers are already in you. But here's the catch. To hear them, you need silence, space, a willingness to listen to yourself. How often do you stop and reflect instead of drowning in notifications? How often do you let your own thoughts rise instead of filling your head with other people's opinions? Self-knowledge is the foundation of growth. Without it, you'll keep chasing external validation. With it, you begin to trust your own compass. Chapter 8. Modern distractions and ancient wisdom. Now, let's bring all this to your everyday life. Think of how you live today. Constant pressure to curate an identity online, fear of falling behind in your career, anxiety about relationships, money, climate, politics. In a way, you're no different from the villagers in Gibran's story, standing at the harbor, asking a prophet for wisdom before he departs. And his answers haven't aged. Love bravely. Work with your heart. Welcome sorrow. Guard your freedom. Give of yourself. Know who you are. These aren't abstract ideals. They're survival skills in an age of distraction. Because every time you scroll without thinking, every time you sell your hours for work you hate, every time you avoid sorrow instead of learning from it, you drift further from yourself. But if you let these truths land, you start to live more deliberately. Conclusion. The call to transformation. So here's where we land. You're not here to coast through life half asleep. You're here to wake up, to let love remake you even when it hurts, to find meaning in your work, to embrace both joy and sorrow, to free yourself from cages you built, to give, to know yourself. The prophet ends with departure, the sage leaving the people, reminding them that truth isn't in him, but in them. And now, that torch is in your hands. So the question is, will you keep drifting? Or will you start living with love made visible? Because the world doesn't need another distracted soul scrolling through the hours. It needs you, awake and courageous.